Hey everyone, welcome back to The Underswell. I'm Derek Sabori, and today we've got a topic that is a little bit heavier than some of our other videos. Today we're going to ask the question, is the apparel industry driving deforestation? Well, guess what? It just might be. And it depends what you're wearing, and it depends what fibers you're using, but let's dive in and have a look and see if we can answer that question, is the apparel industry really driving deforestation? Ready? First thing is, what is deforestation? Deforestation is the irresponsible cutting or clearing of forests. It's this idea of doing it irresponsibly and in a manner that doesn't give forests time to grow back. Forests are so important for so many reasons, obviously, and we talk about this all the time in all of my courses, right? Forests contain biodiversity, all of that life, the different life that lives in forests, creating these ecosystems. Of course, we get natural resources from forests, but also forests are an amazing sequesterer for us, right? They draw down carbon for us, so they play a crucial role in helping us fight climate change. Not only that, forests are just amazing to be in, and we've got a lot of species in there. We need to do everything we can to keep forests intact and to continue to replant and regrow and replenish and give them time to grow back and allow them to be resilient. So obviously, forests are key to our survival, just like the oceans are. But guess what? We also rely on the forests and trees for a lot of things in the fashion industry. So can you name three? I'm gonna give you a second to think of three things that you can check to see if your clothes, your fashion is driving deforestation. Ready? The first one. If you're wearing anything that has viscose, modal, lyocell, any of those tree-based fibers, especially viscose, as we get into the others, they tend to be name brand items that are often associated with a more responsible forestry practice, but a generic viscose, let's say, that's a tree-based fiber. And at first it sounds like, hey, this is great. It comes from trees, right? That's a renewable resource. We know that trees regrow, they replenish, they are renewable, and that is good. The problem is if we don't have any sort of visibility into the supply chain and know where that pulp came from, the pulp that we use to break that down and make new fibers and then spin those fibers into yarns and beautiful fabrics, if we don't know where that tree pulp came from, then we run the risk of the potential for deforestation or being associated with deforestation. So brands are really doing everything they can to make sure we have good traceability in our supply chains, and that we are using good pulp suppliers, and that we are processing that pulp in a responsible way to get really good fibers and yarns for the clothes that we wear. So you're going to want to look for some of the best things in practice, like fibers from Lenzing, they're Tencel, and these have typically a certification associated with them. So you can look for what's called a FSC certification, right? The Forestry Stewardship Council, or SFI, or other responsible forestry certifications that will give you some confidence that, hey, the vendor did everything they could, the brand did everything they could, the manufacturer did, to make sure that they were sourcing from responsible sources that weren't associated with deforestation, that didn't harm ecosystems, affect biodiversity, they managed species loss, and of course, didn't disrupt or harm indigenous communities. So it's really important to look for those certifications and ask your vendor if their tree-based fibers, their man-made cellulosics, if those have certification with them. Are those from responsible sources? Make sure you push back a little bit and ask on that, all right? Second place to look is in your packaging. In the apparel industry, we have hang tags, we have cardboard, we have signage, and all of these are paper-based goods, right? Cardboard. Cardboard is great because it's easily recycled. We have good infrastructure in our communities, but guess what? All of that cardboard or paper, even office paper, same thing, comes from trees. First, it sounds good, but we've got to make sure that we're looking for good certifications. And guess what? It's the same certifications that are on our fibers that we're looking for on our paper and packaging products, okay? So when you're looking for hang tags on your items, flip them over. We want items that are made from recycled materials. That's good. If we're using paper from recycled, that means we're cutting down less trees and using paper that's already in the mix, and we'll just recycle that and make new paper. I don't think we necessarily need virgin resources for a clean, fancy, fresh hang tag that is just going to get ripped off at the first wear, right? So we can look for recycled inputs. Cardboard almost always is made with post-consumer recycled inputs, and that's good, but we can still apply those certifications to all of our paper products, even if it has a recycled content, because there still may be some virgin inputs in there. And when we say virgin inputs, those are inputs that come directly from cutting down of trees, harvesting those and putting them into our products, right? It doesn't mean that cutting down trees is bad. That's an amazing resource. We need it. We just need to make sure that we're doing it responsibly. And the best way that we can do that or have faith and confidence in that is looking for a good standard or a good certification, all right? I like the FSC certification. That's the one I look for. The third thing, leather. Leather in our footwear, your belts, your hats, whatever it is you may have, your wallets. Leather obviously has some great benefits, right? It lasts a long time. It's easy to care for. It doesn't break down very often. It's something that you can pass on and use over if you take good care of it. Leather, yes, is a byproduct of the food industry, but guess what? There is a lot of clear cutting, a lot of land conversion that goes on. In fact, it's one of the biggest contributors to deforestation is converting land use to raise cattle, right? Beef cattle especially, and then even clearing way and making room for the soy to feed those crops and those animals as well. So soy and beef cattle, huge contributors to land conversion, often associated with deforestation. So that's another place that we can look or just be aware of. It's not so easy that brands are going to be able to trace back and say, well, was this leather associated with any clear cutting or land conversion? It just was. It's sort of a part of the process, I would say. So we just have to know that leather has that association. And yes, it's a food product, but a lot of us are moving to more plant-based diets. So that's great, and that will help as well take some of the pressure off. But those are the three areas in the apparel industry that you can look for: your tree-based fibers, your man-made cellulosics, your packaging and paper products, and then of course all of your leather. Ask your brand if they know what's going on with their tree source, who they're sourcing from, what kind of pulp mills they're sourcing from. And a great resource for the fashion industry is a report called the Hot Button Report by Canopy. They do a really good ranking that brands can use to go in there and look to see if their pulp suppliers are good, if they're rated well, if they are paying attention to deforestation and using proper chemicals and recycling all of their wastewater, etc., what kind of impact they're having in communities on the ground there. So have a look at that report. It's very helpful. I'll put the link down here for you in the notes. But those are the three areas that you can look to see if the apparel industry or if the clothes in your closet are contributing to deforestation. Let's hope they're not. Let's shop responsibly and put pressure on our brands. Ask them if they know about deforestation in their supply chains, what they're doing about it, what their plan is, and how they're going to correct and make sure that it's not going forward. All right? Hope that was helpful. And if you like videos like this, if you want to learn more about sustainability in the apparel industry, make sure to click the link down below. I've got a free download there for you, 35 things that I think you need to know if you're on your way to becoming an expert in sustainability in the apparel industry. That's where you're going to want to get started. And if you like content like this, if you want to talk about careers, sustainability, all the topics from cradle to grave, then be sure to click subscribe down here. I'll keep throwing videos at you because I want to share what I learn, and hopefully it helps you on your journey. All right, I'll see you at the next video. Thanks.